Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about how I hate the way the Teddy character was written. And I know what you did last summer 2025. I'm sorry, I cannot let this go. This has been bugging me since I've watched the movie and everything. Like, it has irritated me to my soul and everything. Because of the simple fact he is the only black character in the movie and he's being portrayed like this. I don't know what's up with this franchise, but they cannot write compelling people of color for the most part. Sometimes they can, and for the most part, they can't. Because there's always like this one character that's a person of color that's so frustrating in the franchise that it makes me want to rip out what teeny tiny hairs I have on the top of my balding head. It started all the way back in the second movie with Tyrell and everything. Tyrell was a stereotypical black male. He was loud, he was aggressive, um, he was just so rude and everything. But then you had other black characters that kind of balanced him out. So it's like, okay, fine, I can give that a pass and everything because he's not the only one. And like, there were other black characters that were really enjoyable and who did not act like him. So it's like, okay, fine, that's a balance and everything. But it's still annoying how he acted, but it's like, okay, fine, that's actual life. There are those that act the way he does, you know what I'm saying? But it was balanced because you had other black characters who did not act that way. Then the third movie didn't have no black characters. And then we had the television series where you had, well, I should say there were no people of color in the third movie. Well, maybe this one girl. I don't know what she is, to tell you the truth, when it comes to race and everything. I know she played a white girl in the television show, but that don't mean nothing because the girl who played her sister is Italian and black, and she played a white girl, so I don't know what she is. Anyway, then after the third movie, we had a television show, and they had tons of people of color. And the one Asian girl was so freaking annoying. She was like a valley girl who was obsessed with social media. Used all kind of Gen Z type, was it Gen Z type slang, and she was super annoying. But they had this other dude who was in there that was Asian, who was only there for like an episode, and they killed his behind off. So there really wasn't no balance with them and stuff. And like, her parents were kind of insufferable as well. And that annoyed me as well because she's the only Asian character and she's acting the way she is. Then they had this one black character, and oh, look, she sells drugs and everything. She's biracial, and you only see her white mother. You don't see the father because, as you know, if you're biracial and then you're in a television show or a movie or whatever, they only show the white parent, and they rarely ever show the black parent and stuff. The fact that she sold drugs just irritated me. That's such a stereotype of black people. And now you have this movie and stuff. And with this movie, I'm just baffled how the only black character is portrayed in this movie. Now, I don't count Brandy because she just had a cameo, but I got a problem with that as well. And I'll get into a little bit later. If they were to have more than one black character in this movie, then I'll be like, all right, fine. It's like the second movie. It's balanced, but it's not balanced because he is legit the only one. Now, his character, just like the one in the television show, is biracial. He is mixed with white and black. And they only show his father, who is white. Now, I'm assuming that woman standing next to him at the party was his mother, but I couldn't even tell what race she was and everything. She looked like she had some black in her and some other stuff. So they didn't even want to acknowledge that. And so his father is super rich, right? And the character of Teddy is, even though he's half black, he's portrayed to be the whitest of all white guys. I can give that a pass because of the simple fact of where he's living. You know, the town's been revamped into this prestige preppy type place. His father's super rich, very privileged looking and everything. And so I can give that a pass because he grew up the way, you know, like his father was and stuff. I can give that a pass. What I can't give a pass to is how stupid his character tends to act and what caused the accident and everything. So, like, the accident, and yes, of course, as you can see with the intro, there's going to be spoilers for this movie. So, the accident was caused by him, not the entire, like, not nobody else, like, in the car or anything like that. Because, like, in the first movie, it was Ray that was driving, but it was Barry who was drunk and acting stupid in the car, which caused Ray to swerve and hit somebody with the car. Then, after that happened, they contemplated what they're gonna do. They all covered it up when the Max came around because they picked up the dead body, threw it over the embankment, and held it there. While like Ray and like, you know, Julie talked to Max. So the other two are implicated in that. Then they decided to make a pact and throw his body in the water. All of them did that. So once again, they are implicated in that. Then when Ben Willis like stole Helen's crown, Barry went into the water to go get it and saw Ben Willis was still alive and left him there. Then they all made that pact and they kept it covered up for a whole year. They are all implicated in that hit and run. Here in this movie, they have already stopped driving because Teddy is drunk and high along with everybody. And so like, but he's the only one acting like a buffoon in the car as the passenger. And he's constantly scaring the crap out of the driver, trying to make her like pretend like she hit somebody with the car. And so she stops, she gets out, and he's the only one, even though they've all like been smoking like pot and drinking, he is the only one acting like a buffoon and everything. And so he's dancing and acting stupid in the middle of the road at night. And it's to the point where he almost get hit by a car. And I'm just kind of like, why? Why is he the only one acting like a clown and everything when they all have been doing stuff? Then when he almost get hit by a car, he has to be rescued by Milo and everything because he's too out of it to save himself. Then there's almost another car accident, and oh no, he almost get hit again by a car or something like that. And this is what causes Sam to swerve and hit the embankment and caused the crash, and Sam went overboard and everything. Now they tried to redeem his character by having him all of a sudden, now all of a sudden he's sober and everything, and he's trying to rescue the dude out the car. But he can't open it because like the door is locked. Why didn't anybody think to like bust the window open? But the driver bust the window open. Anyway, they went over. But he is the one who caused the accident. And everybody was trying to rescue the driver and trying to pull the car back. It wasn't like the first movie where people are throwing an unconscious body in the water hoping it would die and everything. But they always assumed Ben was dead anyway. But he is the one acting like a freaking buffoon and everything. And that really drives me nuts. If one other person was to act stupid like he was during that moment, I could give it a pass. But nobody was. Then 1 year later, he has pretty much just distanced himself from everybody. He's kind of like living in like a boat. He's depressed because of what happened. Okay, fine. He's living with his guilt. That's cool. Now we get to his girlfriend, because I know what you're going to say. Well, she was the most annoying character in the movie. Yes, she was. Now, it's a group of 5 people this time instead of 4. Okay, so all the characters, and I'm leaving out the legacy characters for a reason, because it's not really so much their movie, it's just the new people. And it's a group of 5, and I guess you can add 6 because of the podcast girl. But for the most part, the entire cast is like white, except for Teddy and the podcast girl, who is Latina, who they tried to make look white, and like Ava, who's like half like Asian and stuff. But everybody else is white, and so like for the most part, the entire cast is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like they're pretty normal and everything. There's a couple of problems like here and there with a few of them, but it's not nothing so major. Well, probably except for Stevie, because she's the killer, but you know, you get why she became a killer, because this person she cared about so much was the one who died in that accident, and all her friends just covered it up. But she went along with the cover up as well, so that doesn't make sense. But but you get why she did what she did, even though she is wrong. But she's the killer, so no matter what, by default, she is wrong. But the other characters are pretty okay. Milo's a supporting ex-boyfriend who's a nice guy. Ava's great. Like, you know, she's the only one trying to figure out who the killer is and how to stop this person. You know, Danica's new fiance is okay and everything. But then you get to like Danica, and you get to probably like Teddy. Now Danica is Teddy's girlfriend, and then later ex-girlfriend. She's a debutante, she's rich, she's spoiled, she's entitled, she moans and she complains all throughout the movie and uses cringe dialogue and everything. And so while she's a terrible character, it irks me that he's dating her. He's dating the dumb blonde and everything. And it's like, why couldn't he date somebody better? Why couldn't he date Ava or something like that? Or Stevie, because this is before Stevie turned evil and became like a killer. But no, they paired him with the dumb blonde, showing that that's what he likes. He's already a drunken buffoon in the beginning of the movie that causes the accident, and he dates the dumb blonde. Why can't he date a more reliable girl, a serious girl, a smarter girl? They had to stick him with the idiot and everything. Then, as they break up, and I've already said this in the review, she went black and she went back. Like, she ditched like dating him and everything who's like black, and then she went for like a white dude in the future and stuff. And it's just kind of like, man, that's like so insulting to like a black dude and everything. If you ain't black, you don't understand it. And so like it's just disheartening. It's just kind of like that makes us look bad and everything, because like you always hear in society, like, you know, when it comes to interracial dating, like, why would a white girl date a black dude? And then when you see them date white black dudes, normally they date like the ghetto thuggish ones and everything. So when they do go back to white, then people's all like, ha, see, I told you that's how they are and everything. And like, this is why they went back to their own race and blah, blah, blah. I hate that, because that's what happens in society and everything. That is how some people view interracial dating. People get like upset when they see a white girl with a black dude, and the majority of the black dudes they date happen to be ghetto. They happen to be thuggish and everything. Then, just like in society, you know, like I've noticed now in society, a lot more white girls have stopped dating black guys and have gone back to their own races and stuff. And it's because of the ones that get with the bad ones and everything. So why would this movie, you know, not so much try to portray that? Because, you know, Teddy, he's not a thug in any kind of way. He's not ghetto. He's just a buffoon. And it's just kind of like, you know, the moment they see him, or see her go from a black dude back to a white dude, then they're going to be all like, ha, see, I told you and everything. Something must be wrong with him or something like that. Because people are going to like feel that way. And and it's the same way, and it's the same way when it comes to black women. They get happy when they see um a black guy and a white girl break up and everything because they don't like seeing that and stuff. And people need to keep that in mind when writing characters interracially in like shows and movies. 'Cause I talked about this in The Couple Next Door. You have the interracial black and white couple, then you have this other couple who's all white. And then in the end of the series, you have the interracial couple, the black dude, just going crazy with the shotgun in the woods chasing after a white girl. And you don't know why that is, because that's the start of the show. You see a black man with a rifle chasing after a hysterical white woman in the woods. And in your mind, you're like, what the heck is going on? Then you watch the show and you find out, oh, the black guy is the innocent one. It's his wife who's horrible, and it's her lover who's horrible as well. But all you saw was a black man chasing a white woman in the woods with a rifle and everything. Then everything that happens after that, because the black dude tends to go crazy in that show because of his wife cheating on him and trying to get a baby with another man and everything. So rightfully so, he lost it. But he's the only one acting hysterical in the freaking show. And it's just kind of like, why did it have to be him? Why couldn't the black dude be cast as like, the white dude character in the show? And stuff like that. Like, he's the only black guy in that show, and he's acting like all hysterically and everything. But back to this movie. So already we have Teddy being a buffoon when he's drunk and high, causing an accident. Already we have him dating the only person in the movie who's like super cringe and stupid and everything. And then we have her those two breaking up and her back to dating a white guy and being happy with him and all this other crap. Then in the rest of the movie, Teddy is pretty chill and everything. And so, but then the problem I have with him is that when everybody's investigating, everybody's trying to figure out who this killer is, you have him go back to her like a dog and everything and try to comfort her and protect her and everything, but they're broken up. And I just don't like that because he's just following after her like a dog and everything. Kind of the same way Milo is like following like his girl like a dog and everything. I'm not one of those type of people who screams woke or like agenda and this and that. But I am starting to see a pattern with the male characters versus the female characters in this movie, because the movie is written by three people, and two of them tend to write very feminist type shows and movies and stuff like that. Things that center around like strong female empowerment and stuff like that. And now I'm starting to kind of see this pattern in the lingo when it comes to all this could be avoided if men would just go to therapy and stuff like that. Anyways, and so then you get his big climatic fight scene and everything, right? And so I'm like, okay, whatever. So, but then he starts to act like the way he's written, it's almost like they realize, oh wait, we kind of written this black character to not be like the best of the best, and he's the only black person in this movie. So let's kind of give him his hero moment. So as the killer is hooking him left and right, stabbing this dude all over with the hook and everything, all of a sudden this dude has the power to straight up beat up the killer, MMA style and everything. And he's just whooping on the killer as though he's bleeding out and everything, which is so unrealistic. Then after he knocks the killer on the ground, he tries to look all cool and stuff like that and spit in the killer's face yeah, and what? And and spit in the dude's face. But then a second later, in the next scene, you see him hobbling around, barely able to walk because he's bleeding out and he's dying on the floor. But what happened to this strong empowerment, version we just saw a few seconds later that was able to whoop on like the killer and everything. They made him look like some type of action Jackson like type person, like some type of 70s like black dude from like in the movies back in the day, who's like, all like, cool and like fighting somebody, and it's just kind of like, I don't get it. It's like this is a slasher movie, but all of a sudden his character turns into like this big action star. And not even like, I've seen fighting in slasher movies before, like Sydney does it a lot, and it's believable. It's believable how it's written, and it's believable how she portrays it. The way it's written here is so laughable and everything, and the actor is portraying it like he's this cool macho dude and everything, and it just throws me off and everything. And then of course he dies. And so like, and it's just kind of like, why is he written like this for? None of the other characters are written like this and everything. When Milo died, he's not trying to be like this cool, like, like what is it? Like, jiving like 70s black dude and everything. He's just getting straight up killed like a normal person. And then of course they have Danica, his girlfriend, when she's getting stabbed and everything. She's over here fighting the killer in a very unrealistic way as well. And it's just like, why? Not only is it him doing that, but now it's his ex-girlfriend doing that. And it just shows the type of person that he would go for, somebody like himself. And I don't get that. And then, you have the Brandy character. If she would have been shown all throughout this movie, then I'm like, okay, fine, we have a balance, just like we do in the second movie. But she's only there for like a cameo at the end. And it's like, why wasn't she in the entire movie? Now, if you recall, and if you was aware, back when the movie got completely cast, fans on Twitter, fans of all races, kept saying one thing and one thing only. They want Carla to come back, and they want Brandy to come back, which of course Brandy is the one who played Carla. They wanted her to come back. So you think the creators of this movie been like, okay, we need to write her all throughout this movie, just like, we did the other legacy characters. No, they gave her a cameo at the end and everything, just to set up a sequel for the next movie. And it's just kind of like, why couldn't she be put in this movie? Also, where were all the other people of color in this movie? Like, I get the first movie. It was written back in the 90s. Hollywood was a very different time. And the first movie had nothing but white folks and one black girl for 20 seconds, and that's it. And the town they live in is a very old hick type town and everything, So you get why there's a lot of white characters. But now it's been revamped. Now it's been cleaned up. Now apparently you have a biracial black dude in this movie, and you have a half Asian girl in this movie, but there's no other people of color in this movie. Not even in the background, to tell you the truth. Not even as like a supporting character. Because I already told you the Mexican girl, they tried to turn white in this movie. And it's just, this is old Hollywood coming back, and I don't like that in everything. I don't understand why it was written the way, it was. And not only is it that, but it's just kind of like, was this intentional by the writers and stuff? Or was this just like, intentional by the studio? Because they're trying to roll back on DEI to make all these toxic guys happy online. I know what some people are going to say. Well, you're just black and you're just playing the black card. No, I felt the same way when it came to The Strangers Chapter 1 remake and how they portrayed the white, like, redneck hit characters and everything. I said I get tired of seeing like these southern like country what is it like, redneck hick type people portrayed in such an extreme kind of way, to the point where it's so unbelievable because they don't act that way in real life. There are some that do, but the majority of them do not. It's like the overarching stereotype of like a white hick is always in slasher movies and stuff, to where it's just so unbelievable. And I complained about that too. So it's not just like, oh, I'm throwing up the race card or something like that. Like, no, I hate seeing these huge stereotypes and like these movies and stuff, because they're unbelievable and they're unrealistic. And I don't know much about the writers and everything. I mean, I've been on their social media and stuff like that, it's been a while, but it's like I don't see them with too many black friends and everything. But it's just kind of like, why? Why was this written the way it was for the sole black character in the movie? Like I said before, if they was to have other black people in this movie, I would have given him a pass and everything, because it would have been balanced out and everything. But because he is the sole black person in this movie, he sticks out like a sore thumb. And it just makes you seem like this was intentional, or this was old Hollywood rearing its like stereotypical racist head back around and everything. I mean, they made the half Asian girl awesome and everything. Why couldn't they make him? Or why couldn't they just balance it out to where all of them are crappy, but all of them have a good redeeming side to them? And he's not really so much redeemed, because he's just casually in the movie, just like doing his own thing, and him trying to save his ex-white girlfriend, in my opinion, is not redeeming him and stuff. Because he just acts like a buffoon whenever it's his time to shine in the movie. Like whenever they give him something important to do, he's a buffoon and everything. And I don't like that. I just don't like that at all. And I've noticed that throughout this franchise when it comes to black characters and stuff, except for the second movie, because then you had black characters who were all around like non stupid and everything. They weren't like other than Tyrell, who was a huge stereotype. All the other black characters in the second movie were cool, but there's a reason why they had to be cool, because people saw in 1990, what was it, 7 or something like that, there was no black characters in the first movie except for that one girl for 20 seconds, and she drove Julie around like a chauffeur. So of course, that and Scream, who didn't have no black characters, what happened in the second movie? Oh, now we got black characters and stuff. So they tried to make up for their mistake and everything. So it was very forced of how they had to write those other black characters and make them look like good characters, because they realized, hey, we screwed up in the first movie by not having any. And then in the second one, oh, look, we got a stereotype and everything. Kind of like Scream 2. There was 2 black people. One was a stereotypical black ghetto girl, and the other one was an all-around, like, normal acting one and stuff. At least there was balance in everything. There is no balance with Teddy in this movie, because he's really the only one. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.